Okay. So once again, welcome all for the Python Academy on the topic speech sentiment analyzer. So let's dive into it. The first thing which comes into the mind is what are the things which we are going to deal with, what are the things which we are going to understand in this seminar. So the first thing which we are going to see is how the speech recognition works actually. So basically a very simple way, again it will have some complicated scientific things to talk about, but that will be the understanding how our case the speech recognition works. Once you understand that how the things works on that side, we will jump on to the next line where Python libraries to listen this we will discuss. Okay. So there are multiple libraries available. It is not a single library. Multiple libraries we can go ahead with. Then we will see what is the sentiment analysis is, how the basic idea behind that, how it works, and how anyone can work on this sentiment analysis if the person knows which libraries to use. Again, because of the Python, many libraries are available to work on that. Then we will have the live coding demo where we will specifically speak something. It will be recorded as a text, and then we will check out the sentiment out of that. So that is the contents which we are going to see today for the purpose of understanding the speech sentiment analyzer. So the modern speech recognizer can recognize speech from multiple speakers and have enormous vocabularies in numerous languages. So it is not a very small thing now. So many libraries, so many things are available. So you can just utilize. Some of them will be free. Some of them you have to pay on that. But it depends on what you are going to use. Also, it is not only the English, it is available in all languages, French, German, even in Hindi and Marathi also a lot of things are started available, and you can just check out on the Google when you speak, it gives the word on that. So how these things basically work, what is the basic idea behind that? So the first thing is the speech. Obviously, once we speak, it is what we are going to record, okay, or we are going to recognize. Once the speech is there, it is nothing but the sentences, multiple line of sentences. We actually creating the physical sound. Okay, so speech is for us as a human. Yes, it is what we are speaking, but actually it is a physical sound. So on physical sound, when we look at that, physical sound is heard by our microphone, because currently we will have the microphone on our mobile, on our laptop, whatever the thing you see, and this microphone will convert that thing into electrical signal. So that is the basic idea of microphone, converting whatever you read into electrical signal, or you can say a kind of conversion which happens due to analog to digital converter, which converts your thing into digital data. So that digital data is basically an audio file. I am not talking about it is converted into some text which I can read. No, that is the second phase. But yes, speech recognizer is a part of all these things which will use this digital data, maybe an audio file, okay, or an mp3, mp4, whatever you say, and on that it will start working. And then due to the numerous methods, specifically the neural networks inside that, the HMM it is using, it will convert that digital data into text data. And obviously there will be certain kind of errors, a percentage of error, because we cannot say that everything I say is 100% accurately converted. Obviously there will always be some kind of error, and that is fine. Means it is not we are going to create an 100% thing which works very fine. There will be an error, and we will go through that. And if I want to avoid, I want to create very pure speech recognizer, I need to add lot of conditions in that. I need to tune that machine learning algorithm inside that with multiple parameters. So that will happen. So next thing comes into this, when we talk about that, what are the things is used actually? So the most modern speech recognition system use the HMM, that is called hidden Markov model. So it is a kind of model which is we can have the extension of that as our neural networks or ANN, which uses multiple inputs, and how it is done, that also we are going to see. So these multiple inputs are used in HMM, and then the text is converted. Again, it is not automatic. It has to be fed with some data. So that data which we already know. So feeding the data means what? Already some speeches which has been converted into text, and there will be a then correlation. So this correlation, it will check with what is the new input it is coming, and once it knows that, then the thing will start. So that is the way the things happens here. So that we will see how it is work in hidden Markov model. Again, if you want detail of that, you can go ahead with this. Just have a Google search and you will have a lot of articles on that. Next, this approach works on assumption that a speech signal, that is what we are speaking, when viewed on a short enough time scale. So if I reduce the time scale maybe of 10 milliseconds or less than that, can be reasonably approximated as a stationary process. So it is again a typical kind of physics we are talking about, and that is a process in which statistical properties do not change over time. So if I take a minute word, say I say hi, hi again can be divided in multiple audio files, very small files, and there a small spike which is going from this point to this point can be calculated, which is stationary. And then all kind of spikes, if I combine together, yes, this stands for hi. Again, you do remember there are different dialects, there are different ways of speaking also. What I am speaking may not be actually a same case with all of you. Everyone will have a different speaking aspect. So that change in tone also has to be captured. So that is the big task. That is the big task to capture. Okay, but it is still going on. Lot of process, lot of research is still there. So what we are talking about can be reasonably approximated as a stationary process, and that is a process in which statistical properties do not change over time, because speech is a changing over time as I speak different words. In a typical HMM, the speech signal is divided into 10 milliseconds of fragments. So it is divided into different fragments, and then that fragments will be used to understand how the things is going on. Okay. So basically HMM is the way which can be used for the understanding of how we can utilize this speech recognition software, or what is the speech recognition inside that. That is the main thing behind that. Now, how the process goes, so what are the steps we follow. So the first step comes into the picture, it's called cepstrum. So again, that is a physical word, you can search it on. So what is this cepstrum is? So speech signal, which we have said, is divided into 10 milliseconds of fragments. The power spectrum of each fragment, the one which is divided, small parts which we have, each fragment is mapped to a vector of real numbers known as septal coefficient. So it is defined septal coefficient. On that, this new signals which is coming in, which is divided, will be get combination. A vector manipulation will be done, and if that is matching, if that is good, then we can say this word is coming from another word, or it is the matching word. That is what we want to identify. So that is the first step which works. Then comes the phonemes. So phonemes again, it is something phonics or some related words from phone or anything you can talk about. So what is this phonemes is? So these groups of vectors which we just talked about are matched to one or more phonemes of a fundamental unit of speech. So as I said, some input, some, it is again not a sum, it is a very big input. Already a speech recognition wants as an input which has all these kind of words matching, and then that word will start matching with the one word which we are speaking. Okay, so that is the phonemes matching happens. This calculation requires training, since the sound of a phoneme varies from speaker to speaker. As I already said, there is the possibility that obviously one speaker says a word, say hello, like I am saying, and another can say hello. So both are same, but we have to match it with their group of phonics, and that is where it is done. Okay. Again, through Python coding, we are not going to do this. This will happen automatically because of the libraries which are available, but at least we should have the basic idea behind that, how it works. Okay, so there are lot of topics on Python which you can understand, you can see, and you can also see on our YouTube channel, which we discuss continuously. So you have a lot of ideas, lot of small projects if you are in a college or something, or lot of new things if you are working in some industry. And once we combine this with phonemes, the algorithms come into the picture. A special algorithm is then applied to determine the most likely word or the words that produce the given sequence of phonemes. So the given input, which is coming from the speech and audio signal, and input, which is already a train, will be matched. And again, there may be multiple matching. So hi, hi, and hello may match something similar, and then may have different output. So that is maybe the case. So all these things will be combined, and then the combination, a relation will start to find out. ANN are used to simplify. So basically, it is an artificial neural network. So ANN, which is also used most of the time, specifically signify this thing to understand how to get the idea of that. Okay, so that is the way how the things happen. So the ANN used to simplify the speech signal using techniques for feature transformation. Feature transformation is what? Nothing. Different columns are called the features, which has to be matched. It is not a very small thing. It is not a nothing. But yes, we have to combine that. Okay. And then the dimensionality reduction also has to be done. That is again a PCA method, or many methods are there before HMM recognition. Means before the HMM or the neural network recognize, yes, that is kind of speech I am speaking. Okay. So fortunately, for as a Python programmer, we don't have to worry about any of this. Several speech recognition services or the libraries are available to work on that. So what are they? Some of them we will show. One is API AI, which is very popular but somehow complicated, has many other things rather than only speech recognition. Assembly AI, it is also popular. Google Cloud Speech. Google itself provide a cloud speech platform where you have to register, you have to generate the keys, and then Google will start providing the service to you. You have to use it some input, maybe. And a good thing is a lot of other languages support is also there. So Google Cloud Speech is there. Pocket Phoenix is also there, not used by me, but yes, it is there. Speech recognition, that is the simplest word you can see and simplest library, which also we are going to use in our code. So speech recognition is a very well and simple library. It inside has the Google Cloud Speech integrated, so you don't have to create some keys going there. You can directly use that. So that is the best thing. There are other Western Development Cloud, which is given by IBM, and WIT is also there. So there are many libraries. More on this also you can search on net, and you may find out, yes, this works peculiarly for my case. That may happen. So many things are already available. Only the thing, how to utilize it is the main thing. So that is the when we can think of. Okay, so this is the part of speech recognition. So we are going to use this speech recognition library. Let's have a small detail on that also, how that speech recognition library works. So recognizing speech requires the audio input, and speech recognition makes retrieving this input easy, and that is there. And that's why we are going to use a Pi Audio, that is again a library which is used to connect your microphone for our purpose. Okay. Instead of having built scripts for assessing microphones and processing audio files from the scratch, speech recognition, the software, or I can say the library, speech recognition will have you up and running in just a few minutes. No more complicated things of adjusting audio and all that thing. That is not required. The speech recognition library acts as a wrapper for several popular speech APIs and is thus extremely flexible. Okay, so it is very flexible. You can understand it step by step. One of these, the Google Web Speech API, that is the speech API provided by Google, supports a default API key. So it has one default key. Nowadays it is not available, but it is already coded there. So that default key can be utilized as a speech recognition library, which is hard coded there. You don't have to create that, you have to just use it. That means one can get off one's feet without having to sign up for the service. So that is also a very good thing. You have to directly utilize and the things are done. So that is very good. And that's why we are going to use the speech recognition system. Now coming on to the second part, once we have the speech, once we have the text in our hand, what are the things we have to go with is the sentiment analysis. Okay. So the sentiment analysis, the question comes in, you have to put the question at the last, but still Nayan has asked, yes, the recorded video of this will be available on our YouTube channel. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Anup Kilkar's Python Academy, and you will have continuous weekly new session which you can see with the new topic. Okay, so that is available. So moving back to our discussion, sentiment analysis. So basically sentiment analysis, Again, a complicated thing, but yes, it is very popular. Everyone is trying to use that in their purpose and how to utilize that. So the sentiment analysis which we are going to use will talk about only three kind of sentiments. So the sentiments, as you can see in the PPT, will talk about the three one. They are the positive, neutral, and negative. So when I say my experience so far has been fantastic, yes, the word fantastic comes out to be positive, and this total thing is positive. But remember, it is not a single word. If I say so far has been so far may be a negative word also, because I am talking about so far. But I can write here, my experience so far has been fantastic, but today was a disaster. So now single but word made that thing a negative side, not the positive. So how we understand how many words we should read, that is called engrams. Okay, so that is again a different topic. We will discuss that in the future once we have on that, where we will define how the engrams is defined. So Google has defined a 5 engram methods up till now, which is very high and heavy. So that is the positive sign. The next thing comes out to be the product is okay, I guess. So it is just the okay word I am using, and I guess word also I am using. So it is a neutral part. Whereas your support team is useless. Totally useless means negative. So it is not only on the word the things happens or the sentiment analysis work. It has the multiple things like the bag of words, then the vector calculation on that, and then the matching of the words along with the syntax, and then come up with the answer. So many things are there. It is not a simple thing as quickly just reading, because we are humans, we can read it and we can understand, but now we have to work on the machines too on that, so it is a difficult task. Okay, but yes, the libraries are available for our rescue. So when we talk about sentiment analysis, the sentiment analysis is the interpretation and classification of emotions, basically positive, negative, neutral. Now you can divide that also, like highly positive or happy, loving. Negative we can have sad or totally frustrated. In neutral also we can have joy, joyful. So we can divide that also. Again, it depends on how the sentiment analyzer it is defined there. Okay. So we can have the emotion within the text data using text analysis techniques. So basically we use the text analysis technique to get the idea how the things is happening there. Okay, and that is the way we generally use how we can utilize our case of sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis allows businesses to identify customer sentiment toward products, brands, or services in online conversation and feedback. So this sentiment analysis is used multi-time, means in multi-dimension, I can say. Like it is not only the product, or every industry, maybe a film industry, like they will collect the reviews of the tweets or the comments from the trailers, and they will identify the sentiment of the people. Are people ready to accept this movie, or they are finding something difficult? And then they will start changing the things in that. And that happens when there are the cases like, if you remember, there was a movie where we have Baywatch was the movie, and Priyanka Chopra was the villain in that movie. So once first trailer came in, that part, and trailer is obviously a 5 minutes or 4 minutes. In that part, Priyanka Chopra's part was shown very small, means a fraction of minute you can say. And then a lot of people from India got the negative feedback. Why our heroine is not showing there? And that is correct. They want to see her more rather than other characters. And once that feedback was gone, the sentiment analysis must have happened there, and they come up with no, this was a trailer which was wrongly posted. This is actually a trailer where you can see the Priyanka coming up in 3-4 times, and then they got a very good response. How the movie made or something, that is a different thing, but that is the way how it can be utilized. Second example, when US President Obama was there, he also floated one policy for the health. Okay, so Obama Health it is called. So for that also, he made all the points in that Obama Health open. So people should read it, and then they provide the comments. Now, if you consider the US total population, you cannot read each comment. They must have done some kind of sentiment analysis to come up with, is this people are fine with this kind of thing, and then it should be applied or not. So in every and everything, this can be utilized to reduce the time and get the feeding of how the people are talking about. Again, through the comments, through the tweets, through the something input which we can read it. Okay, so that is the basic sentiment analysis. The sentiment analysis is the text analysis method that detects polarity, basically the positive negative opinion within the text, whether the whole document, paragraph, sentence or clause. And generally for sentiment analysis, it is said that the sentence should be small, because if you add the sentiment of whole three sentence or a paragraph, it will be difficult to judge. Yes, we can judge it by reading each statement separately, calculating the total. And what we are going to do that, like if we talk about some movies reviews, our pie chart which we will show how much good and bad thing I am talking about. Okay, so that will be the thing happen here also. So that is the way sentiment analysis is done. Now, talking about that, sentiment analysis uses various natural language processing (NLP) methods. So that is also a very popular thing currently in the market. Currently, market is flooded with AI things. Okay, artificial intelligence. So many people like to work on that. Okay, so artificial intelligence again, as you can see on our YouTube channel, there is one video which we have loaded. Last time we have the live webinar on that, which was artificial intelligence demystified, where I categorize that thing very well, so you can understand, yes, that are the things, and this is one of the things I should go in deep. Okay, don't think that I will learn AI as a whole. It has to be part and parcel, so you decide which has to go with. So as I said, NLP is one of the part of this AI. That is the methods and algorithm which we will go over in more detail in this section. Are the main types of algorithm used include rule-based, automatic, and the hybrid, a combination of rule and automatic. So the rule-based systems that perform sentiment analysis based on a set of manually crafted rules. So it is not very accurate nowadays, not used much because it is not that much accurate. So it is a rule-based. It is a step-by-step. Whereas in automatic, that rely on machine learning techniques to learn from the data. So basically, they have used a lot of methods inside that, classification methods, which you can have multiple neural networks are there, then simple logistic regression. So many things are there which can be utilized. And then there is the hybrid that combine both the rule-based and automatic approaches, and that is more good. If you combine both of the things together and then start utilizing them, the output will be more accurate, more easy to understand, because most of the things which can be manually adjusted, we will add in a rule base, and then on automatic we will go step by step. So that is the thing we go ahead with. Now this diagram is again a simple diagram which shows how the things of sentiment analysis is done. So in the first step, the training happens, where we have the tag, and then we will have the text. So tag means all the text, all the sentences which we have, will have one by one tagging to them, is that sentence is positive or negative, manually. Okay, so I am talking it manually. It is already manually done on that. Once it is manually done, the feature extraction process will start, where we will start to extract the features from that. How? We will have multiple bag of things and other multiple things which understand how we can take out of the I can say the tags on that. Okay, or I can divide the words which are unnecessary, called a stop word. How we can remove that? Is, the, that, which will not signify. And once that features are available, we will use the machine learning algorithms training part, which will take this and will deal its own way to create a model which is called the classifier model. And now once the classifier model is ready, we will have the prediction. So we actually pass a text, we don't know what is its tag, feature extractor and features will be extracted as per requirement, and the classifier mode will start the tagging of that. So that is the way the step by step things happens. Okay, so the classifier mode will automatically takes the input, and it will identify what is the thing which we are going to do with. Okay, so that is the way the things will happen. Okay, just a minute. Now, as I said, the tagging which will happen, which automatically identify what are the positive and negative sentences, and it will produce the related output. So that is the basic way how the sentiment analyzer works. Okay, so the sentiment analyzer again has the multiple inputs and on the multiple inputs it identifies how we can divide or we can identify the sentiment out of the sentence. Okay, now what are the libraries again comes into the picture. So as a Python programmer we have multiple libraries available to work with the sentiment analysis of text and for natural language processing. The most useful and the base on which the multiple libraries are created is the NLTK library, natural language toolkit it is called, and it is very popular, but it is somehow complicated to write code in that. Okay, so that is the case. Then there are text blob, and that is the library which we are going to use. So text blob is the best library, very easy to start with your first NLP project or first sentiment analyzer. Then you can have multiple things to go with, but this is the very good library to start your coding in Python. There is the Stanford Core NLP provided by Stanford University. Spacey is also popular when you have to process for some production where you will put this code there. That time the Spacey is also useful. And Genisum is also there, which is also popular, but somehow too complicated to work with in the start. But TextBlob is the very good library, and that is the library which we are going to see how to utilize it. So now talking about the TextBlob, what are the things available? So the text blob library which we are talking here is makes the text processing simple by providing an intuitive interface to NLTK. So basically text blob is extracting NLTK only, but in a simple way, and that is a good. It is a welcome addition to an already solid lineup of Python NLP libraries because it has a gentle learning curve. So gentle learning curve means easily step by step I can understand what are the things I can work on that. Okay, so gentle learning curve while boosting a surprising amount of functionality. By default the sentiment analyzer is a pattern analyzer from pattern library. So pattern is one of the library in Python which will use this pattern analyzer in the text block. TextBlob is a simple, fun library that makes text analysis a joy. One will at least use TextBlob for initial prototyping for almost every NLP project. So as I said, for the starting phase, whenever you want to work with the Python libraries on specifically NLP, natural language processing, it is always good to work with the TextBlob because it is a very good, simple library to work with. Once you have the understanding, the process behind that, how the bag of words is done, how the punching is done, how the things are combined, you can go ahead with some complicated libraries because they will work more good, more fine. Okay, so that will be the case. So moving on to the next. Now a lot of things we have talked about, lot of theories we have said that what is the sentiment analysis, how it can be utilized, what are the things which we are going to do with the speech recognition, how we can identify that. All this talking is done. Now let's code it. Let's have the live coding, how we can do that. And this code is available on GitHub. I will just provide you the link also, which you can download also. Okay, so that file is IPONB file. I will just show you. It is a Jupyter notebook file. So if it is already installed on your machine, you can immediately start working on that. If it is not installed, then let's have this video continue. You understand all the things, and whenever you get time, you install that Jupyter and work on that. Okay, so that are the two good things are available. So in coding, again, what things we are going to do? We will break the coding, our whole project into steps. What are the steps? In first step, we will listen the sentences one by one using microphone. Then we will convert the sentences which we will captured in one of the data type called linked list, and then one by one sentence we will convert into the text. And once we convert into the text, we will perform the sentiment analysis on that. So that are the three steps we will go, and then we will combine whole code together to work on that. So that is the things we are going to work with. So let's have our code now. So let me change the screen for that. So just wait a minute, and I will share the code now. So all of you must be visible with the code. So that is the speech sentiment analyzer which we are going to work with Python 3.7. You can use the 3.6, 3.8 also, and we are going to run it with. Okay, so hopefully on the both side, on Zoho platform it is also available. Yes, and it is available on YouTube channel. Okay, so now The code which I am going to tell is a very simple code. You have to work with this, and as I have shown, the link is provided there itself. The link which is available on GitHub, I will just have the copy paste of that. So all of you can just click there and can download the code on your part also. Okay, so I am putting it into the chatting window. So all of you will definitely will get this the code to work on. Okay, so do download that code so you will get the idea how to utilize this code. And as I said, it is a Jupyter notebook, so those who have that installation can utilize it. Those who don't have to install it and then go ahead with that. Okay, so there are the steps you have to follow. Now looking at the code step by step. So for the things to work with, we need one software called Pi Audio, which connects your microphone. So that Pi Audio again is provided in wheel format. So we need to install one more thing called pipwin, that is specifically for Windows. Since I am working on a Windows 10, that's why I am installing it. If you are working on some other version, maybe a Mac machine, maybe a Linux, Ubuntu, any version, these things will not be required. Okay, again I will repeat, this is only for Windows. Okay, and I have done that. What happens in this, when you say pip command, it is the command to bring something from internet. So it will bring a library pipwin from the internet to my machine. Okay, so that is the pip install with the user option. So there should not be an administrative problem. So once it is done, it is installed as a separate library, and once that library is installed, it takes some time because it takes a lot of things from the internet where it is available. And once it is done, it is done. I got one warning that is installed at some other location. I have made that changes. You can have it will go in your main folder also. Whereas on Linux or Ubuntu or Mac, this error may not appear because there will be a root library where this will go. And once that is done, I am installing another package called Pi Audio, which is internally used by speech recognition software. Okay, so what we have done up till now, no coding. We are just installing the packages which is required for our purposes. Okay, so that is the thing we are doing. Now, once we install that, the Pi Audio and this one, Pi Audio also takes some inputs. It is nearly, I think, 5 to 7 MB, which comes out to be here. Not MB also, it is only 109 KB, and it get installed. Okay, so the two things which I need for my purpose is done. The third thing which I need is the speech recognition library. So again, I am doing pip install speech recognition. For me, it was already there. For you, if it is not there, it will get installed. Okay, do remember the Python is totally case sensitive. So whenever you write something speech recognition with S and R capital, it has to be written in the same way. Okay, so then only it will be taken. Okay, otherwise it will show the error. So that error should not be there. So this is the file which we will read it. And the last file which we have discussed for sentiment analysis, it is the text block. So that part also we will do it. So what we have done in this part, we have done only the installation through the Jupyter. If you don't want to work with Jupyter, you are on Ubuntu and you have already a Python installed there, you can have the pip install command without this exclamatory sign. Okay, this is required to override in Jupyter. Otherwise, it is not required. So the installation part is done. Now the next thing comes is to be how to utilize all these things. So the first thing is we will import the speech recognizer as an SR. So SR is what? Just the alias name I am giving to it. Okay, so instead of every time writing speech recognition, I am writing SR, which is a shortcut thing. Okay, so the code will start from at this place where we will import the SR. So I will also run it. So the part is done and speech recognition is with us. The next code is somehow big one, need to be understand very well. What we do is we are writing def, that is the way how the function is declared. So the function name is recognize speech from the mic. That is what we are going to do, and it has two things as an input, recognizer and microphone. Okay, so the recognizer and microphone are the input which we will pass. If I go down, I will explain that code here, which will give you some of the inputs. Okay, so we are going to call the function and we are going to pass recognition and mic from this place. Okay, so there recognition or the recognizer comes from the recognizer speech recognizer library, whereas the microphone mic is coming from SR, the same library microphone with the device index 1. Why 1? That are the different indexes which you get for different devices. If you have multiple mics, you can adjust that also. Now, how this function works? The function is very simple. As I said, you don't have to worry about many things. The first thing is check that the recognizer and microphone arguments are appropriately typed. So I will use it. If not an instance of recognizer, it will say recognizer must be a recognizer instance, and if it is microphone is not an instance of microphone, it will say it is not of instance of microphone. This is just I am checking if I am passing something wrong. It should not be the case. I should not pass any wrong thing. But yes, if I am passing it, I need to check it if it is properly or not. Okay, so that is the first step we have done. Once we have done with that, what we are going to do is adjust the recognizer sensitivity to ambient noise and record audio from the microphone. There are a lot of noise sometimes comes, maybe a fan, maybe a something. We have to adjust that. So how we can adjust that? That also we will do here. So with the microphone as a source, recognizer dot adjust for ambient noise. So analyze the audio source for 1 second and accordingly the mic will be adjusted. And then once it is adjusted, I am using audio is equal to recognize dot listen in bracket source. So that is the point where I will capture the audio. Audio means clip or whatever the input I have. And once I capture, we will set one response which is success, error, and transcription, which is by default we will have none, none, and true value. Okay, so considering I got that sentence and I got conversion of it also, both the things. Okay, so that's why I have added a response in that. Now, once I added that, try recognizing the speech in the recording. If the request error or unknown value error exception is caught, update the response object accordingly. Okay, so that is the way how we are going to work with. Then we have the try block. In that, I am saying response transaction is recognizer dot recognizer underscore Google. So that is the by default function available in our sentiment, not the sentiment, speech recognizer, and which uses some default keys provided by Google itself, which you can utilize. And then I am passing the audio inside that. Okay. So the audio taken from the mic directly, which you can see here. Here it is happening is the conversion of that audio into the text. And if there is an error, the response will be false and API unavailable. If there is an unknown value error, the output will be unable to recognize speech. So that are the errors it will generate. If that is not the case, we will return the response where we will have the exact output which we want. So that is the way the function has been defined. And then this function is utilized in recognizer is equal to senior recognizer, where we will identify the voice from the microphone. So both of things we will pass here, and in response we get this thing. Okay, so that is the way the things are happening. Now in response we are printing it using the response success, error, and the transcription. So all these three things using a simple print command I am doing. So let's have this thing first, if our thing of microphone is working or not. Okay, so let me create my function, be it ready. The recognizer is ready. Again, this recognizer reads the sound for small time frame and then it stops. Okay, it is not a continuous, it will read. If you want to do that, some other parameter has to be set. So the mic is sent, and now the response I have got it. Okay, so now I am going to run the response. So if I run here, hello, how are you? So it has captured something, because now the star mark which appears here is gone. Okay, the star mark was there which shows it was processing. So if I run this line now, it prints out hello, how are you? So you can see whatever I have just said got captured by this mic. So that is the first process or the first phase of our whole project we achieved, is whatever I say, it should get printed, it should be get converted into text. Again, it is not a magic, all the things are predefined and we are utilizing it. Again, to understand how the things happens behind, there are a lot of things you have to study, but that is the thing we have done. The second part which we are going to do it is the sentiment analysis. Okay, So what we are going to do for the sentiment analysis, we will talk about a film and then we will identify what is the sentiment out of that. So how it will be done? First thing, what we will do, we will capture all the words for the films, which we will say. Like last time when I tested, it is film is good, film is very nice, games look like boring, and then buy was captured as buy. Okay, so again that as I said, you speak it, it gets some different word. It may create the problem. Okay, so these things I captured. Now today again we will try it out with some other things which it will capture. Okay, so let us run this to capture the sentences. Now we see this project as, suppose if I am talking about some movies with some 3-4 lines and saying how the movie is and what are the things happen in that. On that 3-4 line, like I am taking an interview of a person, on that 3-4 line which I captured, I will try to find out what is the sentiment of that people or that person for that movie. Is he liking it? Is positive? If he don't like it, is it negative? Or is it neutral? Okay, so that are the things we will capture. So in this code, what are the points I have done? I have a temp string, that is a simple variable I have, which has some values in that. Okay, now on these values I am going to put different string which we will capture from the previous code. And there is one records all, that is a variable which stands for square bracket, that is the list, which is an empty list which will fill with the string which we will talk. Then I have a loop, a continuous loop which will break on by. So whenever I will say by, my loop breaks. Okay, so temp string not equal to by. Now I am printing speak it out, where I will start speaking in. Okay, so that is the part we are going to do with. The response is captured from recognize speech from the mic. So one by one step, I will recognize the speech and I will tell what I am telling or what are the things I am talking about. Now, if the response is success, that means I am able to understand what I am speaking, the success will be shown, and then that is true, means success is true, means response success is true. So response success is true, so I will capture that through transcription, because in transcription I have that text which is converted from the success or the whatever the word I am saying. So I will print it also. And if that string which or the word which I am saying is by, I will if not equal to by, I will append it, else I will go out of this loop, because once it is by, I am out of the loop. Once it is done, a simple thing is thanks for your suggestions on given movies, and the records all will print what are my suggestions. So let's have some suggestion on given movie. Say any movie which you like or don't like. Okay, so let me run this part. Movie was good, but the climax was excellent. I didn't like the hero of this movie, but still it is fine. Bye. So you will see the code got run. The climax word it didn't understand, maybe because it has been converted into C star star star. So that may also happen. So the words which has been captured, whatever the interview or the suggestions I have given for some movie was good, but the climax was excellent. Again, this will be confusing for sentiment analysis, because but is there and the excellent word is both there. Okay, so let us see how our works is done. I didn't like the, here it miss it because it was none, and but still it is a fine movie. Okay, so that is also captured. So all this thing has been captured step by step, and now we will see how our sentiment analyzer will start to understand how it can be done or how it can be worked on. So let's have the text blob for that. So we will import text blob, and from that we will import one library called text blob. Okay, so from text blob is the function which we are going to use. So I will just run it. So I have the text blob function with me. Now for the text blob, how the things happens. Okay, So for that we are creating one function get sentiment. So it is an sentiment which will talk about what is the sentiment of syntax or the sentence I am passing. So it is very simple. It is just you pass to the text block function. In return, it has one parameter called analysis.sentiment.polarity, which will be some numerical value. And this numerical value, if it is greater than 0, it will say that the sentence is positive. If it is less than 0, it will be negative. And if it is exactly 0, the sentence is neutral. Now, in this field, the text block function, which has already worked on multiple inputs from different angles, and they have created their own model. The training phase, as we have said, there are two things. The training phase is already done in this text block. What we are doing is using its prediction field or the prediction phase, where we are passing the sentence and we are getting the output out of that. Okay, so that are the steps we are going to follow. It is not a simple thing. We will go step by step, but yes, it is done in this phase. Okay, and it will return accordingly. So let's me run this. Now what is the last part I am doing? I have created one curly bracket, that is a dictionary, have the neutral, positive and negative count in that starting with 0, and now I will read one by one the received statement from the records which we have created, and then I will call the get sentiment function, which will get the sentiments one by one and will predict what is the positive, negative, neutral side in that. And that thing I am adding into the dictionary using the sentiment, which is positive, negative or neutral, and incrementing it. Okay, so how the things happen here? So if I run this code, it takes one by one inputs. Okay, so it got one error. It got one error because of the none which we are passing. Okay, so that none we will remove, so our code will work fine. So here we got one none, so let's have one cell in between. So this shows that we have to add some coding part which will remove the non-required elements. Okay, so here the none is the part which I have to remove. From where? From our dictionary, dictionary, a list which has all the elements. So I will have this record. So on record all, I will say remove. So instead of remove, I will remove that none part. Okay, so let's remove the none part. Let us see if this works. So if run remove none part is done, let me add one more cell just to check if everything is fine now. So I will have one more here cell just to check what are the inputs now inside that. So now the none part which was wrong has been removed. So we can have one code in between. We can have remove none from list if it comes. So I have removed and my 4 values which I said are available. So now I will go back to run this code, which hopefully will run without any error. And you can see the movie was good, was taken as positive, but the climax was excellent. It also positive, so it is taken as positive. That is very good thing. I didn't like the complete statements is not there, and that's why what didn't you like we cannot get it, and that's why it may have taken in a neutral, but still it is fine. And yes, still it is fine, so it is positive. So we don't talk about any negative. One negative we miss, but yes, all are the positive. So now if I want to print that, I will use a simple library called matplotlib. That is a very good library to print the graphs. It can be a pie chart, a bar chart, or any other thing. So that is the way it can be used. So I am importing that matplotlib using pyplot as an alias name plt. And in that, the slices which I have provided, I am using with the activities of neutral, positive, and negative with some colors of CMR which can be utilized. Now I am using the pie chart, which is slices which I am passing, which will have the values, the colors which I have defined, the labels, neutral, positive, negative, and the percentage. Okay, and with the title of sentiment analysis of this cannot be a tweets, it cannot be it can be say movies. Okay, so I will just change it, and with the legend and show. So once I run this code, I get the figure out of that, which will be actually a pie chart of whatever the input I have. And you will see I have the 75% positive word about the movies, whereas 25% neutral. So as per my suggestion for a given movie, I can say that the movie is positive or 75% positive for the person which I am working with. Okay, and that is the case we can talk about. So this is the step by step things which we have talked about, and starting from the beginning, what we said, we have the inputs. So I will just have the review of whole the code. Whole of the code is available, as I said, on the platform of GitHub. I have shared the link also, which you can get the idea from, and that link you can run it if you have the Jupyter. If it not, you have to write it your own, or you have to download the Jupyter or install it. Okay, so let me go through the code again from the beginning. So from the beginning, as I said, I have the Windows. So that's why, and the code is available on this platform. Okay, speech sentiment analyzer. So that is on GitHub with the Python Academy. I have installed the pipwin. So pipwin is required because I work on my Windows. If you are on some other version, it will be something different. Once that is done, you have to install another thing called PyAudio. That is the file which will connect your mic with. And then you have to go with the speech recognition. That is the third library. And the fourth one is the text block. So these are the four libraries which are very important to work with this project. Then we import the speech recognition SR. We have the function which we have defined, which actually reads what you talk about and convert it into the speech. So whole procedure I have explained. You will have availability of this video in YouTube channel, which I already said, Anup Kelkar's Python Academy. So you can subscribe there, and all these videos will be available. Then it will recognize it with the given device, for me a simple microphone, and then I have printed it. So it was just the testing that yes, I said hello, how are you, and it got printed. In the next step, we have used a loop which is continuous, which breaks when I say bye. And then I said some views on one movie step by step. So it got interlinked, and it has been kept in one of the list called record all. So records all has the all the inputs which I have said, out of which the climax the word got confusion. So it is star star star. Sometimes it may be the case that some derogatory word are also not used there. That may be the case. Okay, we have to explore that. And there was one problem at one point. None was got captured because I haven't said anything, or the gap was not good. So that thing happened. But still, I got all the things which I said in a list. Once I got that, I removed that none because it is creating an error. So that is a new addition we should have in that. And I printed, yes, record all are this thing. Then I have gone to the text block. That is the library which has to be utilized. And for that, I have used a function, a text block, which is a direct function which gives your things or the polarity, an integer in analysis.sentiment.polarity. In that, the value is greater, less, will identify what is the thing inside that. And this function is used in this sentiment total. So I got the sentiments. Naturally, I said most of the positive things. So the positive are more. Negative thing was not gone inside properly. So it is not displayed. And you can try it out different ways. Okay, so you will have the idea on that. And once it is done, I have the matplotlib import, which has the library which is used for the graphical purpose. And that's why we got the sentiment on movies saying the current movie which I talk about one audience is saying is very positive, 75% positive. So that is the way how we can have speech sentiment analyzer, a step by step process.